Hey everybody, welcome to Greensboro's Gibson Park. Thought I'd go on location today and try to beat the heat. I'm glad to be with you. Thanks for joining me. We've been talking about something in terms of a question: what makes your heart sing? And with a couple of quotes I'm about to tell you, I'm going to try to tie this up at the end with a story about a man whose heart still sings. Stay with me, folks. I'm going to read this. It says, writer George Eliot once declared, "It's never too late to be who you might have been." As a fourth quarter person in my own life, things have descended quickly upon me. That one of my greatest desires is to make a mark before I go. A man named Eric Butterworth says, don't go through life, grow through life. And I like that because I see myself growing right now, and it does me good. Mark Twain, last but not least, 20 years from now, you will be more disappointed by the things you did not do than the things you did do. So throw off the bowlines, sail away from the safe harbor, catch the trade winds in your sails, explore, dream, discover. Last week, I spoke to you, as I said, in the Y-Blast, and I answered the question as far as my personal answer: what makes my heart sing? Basically, when I see you all experiencing your heart singing. I just love to see people experience their heart singing. Now, whether you encounter a good education, great training, any kind of educational benefits, your heart can sing from that. But you're about to hear of a man who had none of that, poor and suffering, and his heart sang also. So this is really not about money or title or prestige. What it is about is not having to feel as successful as you feel valuable. There's something about, we're all running after the success, but feeling valuable deep down is what we crave. So here's the touching story that I'm going to give you now, and I'm going to tell you that as I spent a weekend with my good friend on a farm north of Raleigh, North Carolina, beautiful place, he keeps it up beautifully. I found out it was 200 years old in his family, and the stories he was telling were so wonderful and so historical, and I just got riveted into them. When we got up to the 1960s, he began to talk about the situation of black sharecroppers in the area with no other opportunities but to work for men in that area. And so what he began to relay to me was a story about a man named Ed Hicks. Ed Hicks, black man, probably called the N-word more than we'll ever know. Fortunately, he had a wife who prayed for him, and Ed needed it because he was deeply immersed in alcoholism, and he was pretty worthless in that condition. But his wife prayed and prayed, and he came to the Lord. And it was a beautiful thing for me to hear my friend tell me how her prayers brought him in the right direction. My friend's dad put him in the tobacco fields. When I say put him in, he hired him. And this man, was such a worthy employee. He worked hard. One day he brought his transistor radio, and he put it in his shirt pocket, and he turned it up and tuned it in. About the only thing on that AM station was gospel preaching and gospel music. Mr. Hicks would get out there in the field and just let his heart sing as he did his work. It's beautiful. As my friend described that to me, I could see him out there. My friend also had done some work in his day, and he says, Ed, that's some of the hardest work a man can ever do. And I thought to myself, even more reason to respect Mr. Hicks. I'm loving the fact that what we're going through even right now helps me hearken back to the hurt and conditions and the pain that were even here in my lifetime. And that's hard on me. I won't go into detail. It's not about me anymore, but I do today. But I just want to let you know it's hard to believe some of the things I heard from my friend. In this epilogue, I'm going to finish up by saying, from being called the N-word by probably several men, who knows, to having his wife pray for Ed Hicks's salvation, God worked that situation for good in miraculous ways. In a certain way, I don't even feel sorry for Mr. Hicks. You see, every day he came to work, he was working for someone else, an audience of one. He's long since passed away, and he no longer needs his transistor radio. He's home now. I bet his lovely wife is beside him, and his heart still sings. Thank you for joining me today. Have a great week. I'll be back. Thank you all.